What is good stuff, family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one, I'm going to be talking about the one and only Tesla stock and what you should be looking out for the future. I'm also going to do some in-depth technical analysis and give you guys my price prediction for tomorrow based off the charts that are showing and based off the data is suggesting. I'm also going to break down what's going on in the overall market and how this may affect Tesla and why on earth we have some major updates from Elon Musk about this whole Twitter deal. Now, before I break anything down, before I get into any more details, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner, so don't take any of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. Not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. And the last thing is, if you guys can, please check out the Weeple link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Weeple, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you're guaranteed up to 12 free stocks, each worth up to $2,000. And the best part is, any of these 12 free stocks could be a free Tesla share. It's a limited time offer. The offer ends in just 5 days. Check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. And one last thing I wanted to mention is I did not sleep very well last night. I'm not feeling the best, so I do apologize if I sound kind of boring, maybe kind of monotone every now and then. I'm very sorry about that, guys. I'm doing my best, and I still wanted to release this video because we have big updates coming out for tomorrow for Tesla. Now, looking at Tesla, this thing held up pretty well today compared to the overall market. What was very interesting was my kind of like prediction of seeing a little bit of chop wasn't necessarily wrong because we did see the SPY and the overall market see some of that. So in the very beginning, got a big push to the upside by SPY, by the NASDAQ, by the QQQs, huge rally, followed by a huge rejection. Then the market came crashing down after that, and we ended up actually closing kind of red. But overall, we're actually holding up okay, so it wasn't necessarily that bad. We actually closed above 382. Now, looking at the way the market is looking, seeing this big drop, we did see a lot of kind of like price action between this 382 and 385 level. So the majority of the day was spent around here, and that's what I predicted. I just didn't see us actually pushing up that hard today in the very beginning. So that was very interesting to see. And that did end up having an effect on Tesla. So the market pushing up did allow Tesla to push up. However, Tesla was showing more strength than the overall market because what happened to Tesla was we shot past the 226 level of resistance. And I actually thought that this would be able to stop Tesla out. And I mentioned to everyone that, look, if we broke past 226, we had the potential to go to 230, and that's what we ended up doing. However, I also mentioned that if we shot past 230, we had the potential to actually fill the gap at 237 to 238. Very possible to see Tesla do something like that later on. But overall, the market got a huge rejection. The market came down pretty hard after it had its peak today. And what happened was Tesla did not come down that hard. We actually tried to hold the 220 level pretty well. And what's interesting is we actually closed at 224. So that's a good sign so far. I want to see Tesla hold these levels. And on top of that, I really want to see us hold 220 because if we hold this and get a nice bounce and continue pushing, we have potential to actually break past 230. But if we break below like 220 later on, we start dropping again, that's going to be a sign of weakness. So please watch out for that. Now, when it comes to Tesla right now, we're holding up okay. And I mean, we're holding up pretty well compared to the market, but for Tesla standards, I guess you could say it's okay. But looking at Elon Musk, he had some big updates that will affect Tesla in the future. Now, Elon Musk tweeted on his Twitter page. All right, he's entering the Twitter HQ. Let that sink in. And he actually came in walking with a kitchen sink. So that's pretty funny to see him actually doing something like that. But the bottom line is, seeing him at the Twitter HQ, it's pretty obvious what's going on. He is very, very fixated on buying Twitter. He wants to buy Twitter. He seems very committed to doing so. And this is going to be a good sign for at least him and also for Twitter if you actually think about it. But for Tesla, what does this mean? Like I mentioned in my earlier videos, I do not consider this a bad thing because Elon Musk buying Twitter would be great and it would also cause him to not have as much time for Tesla theoretically. But the thing is, they have so much done already. They have a massive roadmap, so many plans. I think Tesla's going to be just fine regardless of that. I still think they're going to really meet those deliveries. And I think that's what the priorities should be for lots of investors. Are they innovating? Are they continuing to see more deliveries? Are they growing? How are their profits and margins? And I still think Tesla's going to do incredibly well despite this. So I'm not worried whatsoever, despite all the FUD that's coming out. And I want to mention something else that's important. So now, like Elon Musk is making all these headlines about carrying a kitchen sink. I think that's very funny, very creative. And I really hope the best for him because if he wants to buy Twitter, what's stopping us from telling him to do that? Now, with this whole fiasco, it did lead to some kind of like chop and bearish price action for Tesla. So much of this is already kind of like priced in. The only thing that's not as priced in would be Elon Musk potentially selling some Tesla shares to buy Twitter. Now, the thing about that is that's not confirmed at the time of recording this. He has not sold Tesla shares, at least to my knowledge, just yet. So I don't truly know if he even will end up doing that, but it is a risk that's very evident. So please be prepared in case he ends up doing that. There's also a chance that he ends up not doing that. So that would be just as fine for us as well. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. But so far, I'm not seeing Musk selling for the short term. So I'm hoping that that continues, and that would be good for Tesla. When it comes to Meta, I know this used to be Facebook Meta. You will notice that they missed on earnings per share just a couple of minutes ago. This earnings report just came out, and they just barely beat on revenue. However, what's very important about this is they've been burning a lot of cash, and we're seeing lots of weakness for the short term. So in Meta right now, it's crashing like crazy in the after hours. It's down like almost 13% in the after hours alone, despite being down like 5% today during the open hours. So this thing is crashing. It's down like almost like 17, 18% in just one day alone. That's insane. And that's because earnings were not that great. They're not like very they're not meeting expectations like people would have wanted. And there's also a lot of put buying that happened that did cause the price to come down. So please watch out for earnings like this and that implied volatility rush. That's going to be very important. Now, this is big because seeing weak earnings like this can have a big effect on the markets, and this may affect how the market performs tomorrow, which is why I'm still very cautious. From Tesla's end, like I mentioned, guys, price pairs ratio, it's starting to actually push up a little bit. It's a little bit hard to see, but you guys can see this is curling a bit. This is a sign of strength for Tesla. On top of that, when it comes to comparisons between Tesla and SPY has been pushing up more than Tesla, but Tesla's starting to follow. It's also tracking the QQQ and many other big things like that. Morgan Stanley also believes that Tesla's doing well. They also gave it a buy rating, so that's another very good sign. And then also looking at for Thursdays, we're actually green 47% of the time historically. However, I'm not too worried about that given the strength that we are showing. So I'm hoping we do see a green day again. And overall, I don't know if this was adjusted, but the overall short interest of Tesla did come down just 2 days ago. I am anticipating it's going to come down again for the later reports that come out. That's a good sign for Tesla too. On top of that, looking at the data, the overall volume was pretty nice at 84 million. So I want to see volume continue to come in because this liquidity allows for a lot more options activity and a lot more buyers to really step in. Coming down to the dark pool data right here, we are seeing the short volume percentage actually coming down. This is a good sign right now because right now the longs, the bulls, if you want to call them that, they have the edge in this stock. They're the ones now that are gaining more control, which is another good sign for the short term. So for Tesla, what am I essentially seeing? Well, here's my answer. Where's Tesla? Here it is. So what concerns me a little bit would be Meta's earnings. If this does cause the market to drop, that would be something worth noting. But please note that yesterday I was talking about Alphabet, also known as Google. They missed big time on earnings. They did not do well. Microsoft's earnings were also just okay. They did beat on some things, I think, like earnings per share and revenue, but they were just okay overall. And despite having earnings not that great, the SPY was able to see a massive, massive rally like this, which shows that this market is kind of manipulated like crazy. And on top of that, we are seeing a lot more of a push approaching the midterm elections, which does tend to happen. It seems like it's happening earlier this year, but I can't guarantee it's going to last forever. So please be very cautious because the market is moving based off of a potential Fed pivot, and that's not confirmed. And Jerome Powell could easily cause the market to switch when he does speak during the FOMC meeting. Am I guaranteeing that's going to happen? No, but it is a possibility. When it comes to the QQQ, let me just quickly go over these. First off, let's go over NASDAQ. On the NASDAQ, a nice push into open. We filled the gap that actually formed. Then we got a big rejection coming down. We are on the verge of forming kind of like a double bottom. So I'm hoping for a bounce and a retest of 11,000. Very possible to see a nice push into the open, especially because we're down 2%, which is pretty significant for the NASDAQ's standards. So I'm hoping for a nice push tomorrow. I want to see a slight green close. Meta's earnings does make me a little bit concerned, but it is still very possible. On top of that, if you look at Apple, Apple is showing some strength in the after hours. I mentioned this that if you look at a Fibonacci retracement, the 148 level would be a perfect 0.236 retracement zone. And look at where Apple ended up retracing to 148, which is where we got the bounce. So it looks like it may want to continue. Also, on a very short time frame, I think on the 1 minute, I don't know if that's the one. On one of these time frames I was looking at, we could actually see an inverse head and shoulders. So that could be a good sign for Apple to push up. I think it's this one right here. So if Apple pushes up a little bit more, that could be good for the tech sector, and this could also be positive for the markets, for SPY, and also for Tesla. On the QQQ, just real quick, we did form kind of like a double bottom, hoping for a nice bounce too and a break above 280, at least temporarily, hoping for a slight green day. So, anyways, I went over those as fast as I could. Now, looking at Tesla, what the heck is going on? The answer is right now, Tesla is showing some strength. I want to see this thing hold above 220. If this thing breaks below 220, it's not going to be a good sign. If we break and hold below that zone, however, considering the strength that we have been showing, considering the fact that this thing could run, and considering that the market did end up getting a red day after so much green, and the fact that the market actually hit these like unmarked territories, pushing all the way up to those high levels, it is very possible for the market to continue pushing up tomorrow, despite what happened to Meta. So what I'm looking for Tesla would be, I want to see how this thing reacts to 230. All right, watch that very carefully. If tomorrow comes and Tesla breaks past 230 and we see this thing going to like 231, 232, and it holds, shows nice volume, it's looking very bullish, the whole trend is very upwards. If that's the case, all right, this thing has the potential to go. Let me find the zone right here. This gap fill. This gap fill all the way up here is where Tesla could go to. That would take Tesla to about, let me see this. This is about, let me see, $238 a share to 240. So this thing has the potential to push to almost 240 if we get a clean break above 230, in my opinion. I think Tesla looks very strong, and this could take a couple of days to really play out, but it is very possible for us to get that. So that's really what I'm watching for. We're in a very like critical zone right now. We're very close to the middle between 230 and 220. So we could go either way. But like I said, I'm more inclined to thinking that this thing wants to push up a little bit more. Look at the daily. On the daily time frame, Tesla has been pretty oversold. And on top of that, let me hide these drawings real quick. On top of that, what's interesting is we are on the verge. We're seeing the EMA starting to curl a bit, especially the 5-day EMA starting to curl a bit. We do look like we want to start approaching this level right here. So Tesla does have a tendency of trying to run to the 48 EMA. On top of that, RSI is starting to push up a bit. That's a good sign. And also the MACD got a crossover with the signal line showing some more momentum. This means that Tesla could most likely be respecting an uptrend for the short term. So I do anticipate some more potential upside, and I am more inclined to seeing this thing being more bullish than bearish, in my honest opinion. Now, the overall market could affect it, but so far we're showing some strength, so I'm hoping for a nice continuation. My prediction for tomorrow would be, let me just bring up my drawings. Give me one second. Right here, my prediction for tomorrow is, I think tomorrow Tesla's going to get a nice push again. Very, very nice push. And we might retest 230. If we break past 230, this is where like I don't truly know if we're going to break it. If we break it and we hold it, like I mentioned, the gap fill is very possible. It could happen in just one day. As crazy as that may sound, this thing could go as high as like 237 to 238 in just one day if this thing gets a huge break to the upside. However, if we push up, we could get stopped at 230 because we do have resistance here. You can see Tesla did struggle to break past it. That's what I'm going to first be watching for. I want to watch this level right here. I want to see how we respond to it if we could get a nice push. So please be very cautious, and this is what I'm going to be watching for. Now, I'm more optimistic, so I do believe that Tesla could actually retest 230 tomorrow and maybe break past it. However, for the whole gap fill, I mean, I can't promise it's going to happen in one day. Maybe it'll take like another day, but I still believe Tesla could actually fill the gap all the way up there if we continue to see this rally perpetuate. With that said, that's essentially what I'm predicting. I'm more bullish than bearish. I want to see Tesla hold this level. A more bearish possibility would be this thing breaking below 220. I'm not seeing that so far. I want to see this thing hold it. And I like I said, I really believe this thing is going to retest 230 and hopefully get a nice break. So that's what I have for this one, guys. I apologize if I sound like very tired. Please have a great rest of the day. Remain calm, cool, and collected. Get ready for tomorrow. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Tesla to the moon because the long-term future is still incredibly bright. And peace out.